What's up, everybody? Happy August. We are officially in the dog days of summer. It feels like August is one of those weird months that we will get into shortly. That's Colby Cohen. I'm Jonny Lazarus. This is Morning Cuppa Hockey, presented by Bet365. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. So use our code Daily365. We got a great interview today with Brett Pesce, the newest New Jersey Devil. We'll be talking to him shortly, but before we do any of that, Colby, what's going on with you? You wearing your BU t-shirt on purpose because he's a UNH guy?
You know what? I didn't do that on purpose, although I could see how it would come off that way. This was actually gifted to me by a friend, and it just made it through the wash. I always wash new shirts before I wear them. I don't know if you do that.
No.
Big laundry guy. I like doing laundry because it's important to me that my clothes smell a certain way. So I didn't wear the BU shirt for him. Obviously, he's a UNH guy, but it is the old school. It's got like the old school BU logo from the jerseys in like the 70s. So it's a cool shirt that I was rocking today. But let's bring Brett in. I'm excited to get him in here. The newest New Jersey Devil, a guy that neither of us know personally, although obviously we both know who you are. And I just want to say this to you, Brett, before we get going. My first ever broadcast that I did in the booth was one of your UNH games. And
awesome.
And I remember this because we used to share an agent. And I remember when I got that game, our former guy was like, hey, Brett Pesce, right shot defenseman. You're going to love this guy. Big shot. Like he kind of, the way you kind of played in college, he kind of reminds me. And so that always kind of stuck with me. And I was terrible on the game, by the way. Terrible. It was first, I did it with Tom Caron. I'm sure you know who that is. Yep, he's a legendary voice in New England. Legend. But my first ever game in the broadcast booth was one of your UNH games up at the Wit. So we were talking college before you got on. I don't know how much you could hear us or not, but it's great to have you on. We know it's summertime and we know your time is precious. So we do really appreciate you joining us.
No, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to hop on with two hockey guys. So I'm excited to get talking to you guys.
Well, I want to kick this thing off by asking one of my favorite questions, and I always think it brings out a good story. I don't know if you can tell us the entire truth of how it went down, but on July 1st, I think you signed, Turbo signs, Brady signs, a couple other guys sign. Are you texting them on the side about leaving the team group chat, or like you just booted from it? Like, how does that work?
No, believe it or not, I actually thought a lot about it.
It's always weird, an awkward thing, right? Like no matter what.
It's weird. Yeah. A lot of those guys, man, they're like my brothers, man. Like I was there 9 years, so lifelong friends. I did text Brady, what he was gonna do. So I gave a nice short and sweet text to them and then just left it and here we are, moved on.
Yeah. Well, listen, I love Brady. I got to know him a little bit in New York when him and Shaddy were teammates in New York and I had just stopped playing. I was spending a lot of time up there with those guys and what an awesome guy. Like he's such good energy to be around. But look, I'm excited about the fact that I got another Atlantic League like we came youth hockey. Like I know you're from New York, but I'm looking up your history and I'm like played for the Avs, which is North Jersey, but you're an Atlantic League guy. I was a junior flyer, so I'm a little older than you, but it's cool to see guys from the Atlantic League, moving up and getting to play in the NHL. I was just back. Did you used to do those camps with the Atlantic League in the summertime, like at Lawrenceville?
Yes, like the festival camps or whatever. Is it? Yeah.
They were like training camps, and we would stay at
camps,
and then you would go to the festival. But my question though, were you a New York district guy or were you Atlantic because you lived in one and played in the other?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually got to choose if I wanted to go like the New York State or Atlantic. I always chose going through Atlantic, just for whatever reason. I think it probably was a little easier to get to. I think it was in Rochester or whatever you ended up.
Usually in Rochester.
Yeah. So I always went that route.
Yeah, bitch of a drive to Rochester. My dad always hated doing that one. And I never even made the team, so it was just like kind of a worthless drive for him. But speaking of that, Brett, too, like coming up, I don't know if this is correct or not, but did you never leave home in high school? Did you go straight to UNH as a true freshman?
I did, yeah. I actually Yeah, I got drafted by the Omaha Lancers. I think it was my junior year. I'm a homebody. I
Yeah.
still talk to. I have about 10 best buddies we grew up from kindergarten. Super close with them, and I didn't really want to leave home. And thankfully, the New Jersey Hitman, Toby Harris,
Yep. So I know Toby
they,
Harris. Yeah.
Jimmy Hunt.
Jamie Hunt, they were in the backyard, right? So I mean, I just was like, why not? Drive 50 minutes, and I get to stay home, and then go to college. So I loved it. I didn't get to play that many games. I actually ended up having shoulder surgery with the Hitmen, but for the little time I spent with them, it was awesome.
And then what was it like? Because what do? You just go in and play selective weekends with the US 18 team your senior year? Like, I remember we had, like, Ryan McDonough did that with our team because he would just come in, and Jimmy Hayes did that a little bit. And so we always had guys like that. And I was always curious, like, what that experience was like, because the one thing about the national team is, like, it gets a little cliquey within the team, but, like, you're very tight with at least your clique, right? Like, the guys that you hang with, you're so close with, so that, like, a new guy comes in that, maybe everybody doesn't know. And with McDonough, it was so easy because he was such a good guy, and he was already friends with Mike Hofel and a bunch of the other guys. But how was that experience for you? Because, like, it's not easy just getting dropped into that team.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. So I went out for 2 weeks. I think we played 4 or 5 college teams. But yeah, it was different. Like I said, I'm a homebody. I never really left home for that long of a time. So I didn't know anyone on the team as well. I actually remember I lived with Nicholas Olson. And speaking of cliques, it's funny. Yeah, I did notice, like, everyone kind of had their own little clique. So I was obviously brought into that one just because I ended up living with them for 2 weeks. But I remember, like, Frank Vetrano was in there, and
friend of the show.
yeah, exactly. Guy Miles Koulis. But they were great, man. The whole it was funny. I didn't know Brady, but he was my roommate, and he roomed with me. Obviously, I didn't know him at the time, so it was a little weird. But looking back, it's fun. Now he's like one of my best friends.
Who was your coach at those for that NTDP run?
Oh God,
we could probably.
I don't even remember, man.
We could probably. It wasn't Ron Ralston though, was it?
No.
Okay, so he must have already been gone because you're about 5 or 6. Are you a 95 birth year?
94.
94. So yeah, you're 5 years younger. So that would make sense that he had already moved on.
I'm a 96 though, so you're not. I guess. So much younger than me. You're actually older than me. But one thing I wanted to bring up on the flip side of that, I have really good family friends from Irvington, actually, that I think you played high school hockey with him, but he was a freshman. Kyle Pfeffer, the Pfeffers, if you remember them. Yeah. And they begged me to just ask you about the Rivertown Legends, and just hearing you talk about, like, the NTDP, playing in the EJHL while living at home, and then lacing up skates in Westchester High School hockey. I played Long Island High School hockey. 12
goals a
They
period.
think you were Bobby Orr. Like, they must have thought you were the next coming, best defenseman in the history of hockey.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky. No, you know what? That was fun. I didn't get to really play my senior year, but I had 2 brothers, an older and a younger. And my older's 2 years apart, and my younger one is 3. So I just, I would come when I could. I really valued playing hockey with them, my bros, and I knew I probably would have never gotten a chance to do it again. So it was a lot of fun. Like I said, a lot of my hometown buddies were on the team, and it is pretty cool, like, playing for, like, your little high school. It wasn't a big thing, but we made the most out of it. We had a lot of fun.
I was really hoping they'd have those stats on Elite Prospects, be like 25 points in 5 games. Yeah,
I don't think they make it to Elite Prospects.
I can attest to this because I'm from Villanova, PA, right? So like 30 minutes from Philly. Like, if you remember going to play, like, the junior Flyers and the little Flyers when you were a kid, I don't live that far from those rinks. So high school hockey in our area, it's nothing to write home about, But my freshman year at Radnor, which is the only year that I played, because after that I had to move away. We won the state championship. I was a freshman. My older brother was a senior. It was my last year of getting to play forward. And I got to tell you something. one of the most enjoyable experiences I've ever had. And my older brother was such a prick to me in high school. Like, I'm also, my older brother's 5'7" and I'm 6'3". So like, I got all the height. He'll never forgive me for it. But we played on a line together, and he was a good player too. And getting to play with my brother and getting to play at Ice Line, and we'd have 500 students there. It was like a precursor to college hockey, but I was,
we get it, bro. You were the man in high school.
And it was so much fun. Like that was, I mean, if I could have done that for 4 years and then still had a chance to go to BU, I would have done it. But like, I couldn't have. The hockey in our area, I mean, you're kind of a freak to be able to be where you're at and do what you've done.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. It's cool. There's something about like you said, playing in front of your school, 400 or 500 kids in the stands. Yeah, it's a really cool experience.
So I know this was going to come up at some point because I was going to bring it up. I wasn't sure when. And I'm sure you're probably tired of talking about it already, but I know you grew up a Rangers fan. And I'm going to actually tie this into a Devils question. Sure. But so 2012, you're a senior in high school living home, right?
Yeah.
Playing, Hitman NTDP. Do you remember where you were for the Adam Henrique goal? In Game 6 of that conference final, and how you felt?
I don't remember. Didn't feel great though, to be honest.
Yeah. But now I know you're a diehard Devils fan, but I always love asking guys that question. Like I remember I asked, Adam Fox that same question. Obviously he grew up a Rangers fan, and he remembered being a devastated like freshman in high school. I was a sophomore in high school when that happened, and I wanted to hear the Ranger Devil perspective. But as a follow-up to that, I know you do train with Kreider and Prentice in the summers, right? That's who you're with. Have you guys had any chirping or banter since you signed in New Jersey?
No, I love Kreider. He just tells me to keep my head up now. He's not going to take it easy on me because I'm a Devil, but
he's a moose.
No, it's just good fun between us for sure.
Look, it's exciting. I mean, I had kind of always heard rumors that like you wanted to make your way back east. I don't think that was ever a secret, to be honest. And you've told, like, looking at your history, you never had to leave. I mean, so it's got to be really exciting for you now. I'm sure you'll be spending a lot of money on tickets this year. Going back to free agency, like, was that the most important thing for you? Geography? Were you talking to any other teams? Because look, you're a big right shot defenseman who can produce. I got to think 30 teams are at least calling your agent just to see, hey, is this guy interested in us? Like you're
not 31.
I'm using round numbers here, Jonny, all right? There's got to be one or two teams. Well, we know Carolina isn't one of them, right? So take them off the board. And you got to think there's at least one team that's like, no, this guy won't work for us. But was that the main driver in you coming back to New Jersey? Like, take us through that day and that process a little bit.
Yeah, to be honest, the day was crazy. Obviously, I love my time in Carolina. They were my first choice, obviously, if everything worked out. But from a financial point, it didn't, which is fine, all good. It's the nature of the beast. But I wanted to be home, and you guys are obviously, like I was saying, I'm a homebody. Family's from here, grandparents, friends, you name it. And then I look at the Devils, right? I look at their roster, how young they are, how talented they are, and I'm like, damn, I think they got to. And then I saw they got, Markstrom, and I'm just like, wow, like they're good. We played them in the playoffs 2 years ago. We beat them in 5, but I mean that series could have won any way. Like, and they're so young, so they're only going to get better. So kind of when they were calling, it was like, I mean, it was a no-brainer for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're a fun team too.
Didn't they sign another? Who's the other defenseman?
Yeah,
who are
Brendan Dillon.
Mm-hmm. So you get sandpaper with him.
Yeah, he's a great player. Right.
I mean, you've got him, Dougie Hamilton, Luke Hughes. I mean, Nemec. That's a heavy looking group right there. You've got a little bit of everything, and you got to think Luke Hughes and Nemec are just going to be even better hockey players in year 2. Yep. So I said this to Jonny, after free agency, I'm like, did the Devils just put themselves ahead of the Rangers in the way that we're viewing things? Like, I don't know. I mean, I think that with the goaltending and the additions to the back end, it's hard not to ask that question.
Mm-hmm. I'm still saying no, but we'll let the hockey play itself.
Jonny is a Rangers super fan, just so you know.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Brett, we get into it on this show all the time, and it's mostly about Alexis Lafreniere. We go at it about him because I think he's a good player, but Jonny thinks he's Wayne Gretzky, and we battle so hard about Lafreniere. He says he's a 100-point guy in the NHL. I said he's not. I'd say 75, 80 points, which is an unbelievably talented player, but we just battle. When it comes to the Rangers, he loses his ability to have deductive reasoning, and he just turns into total super fan mode.
Had some pretty big goals against Carolina in the playoffs, but
yes, he did.
I have said on record that Jack Hughes is my favorite player in the NHL. I've said that on record. So speaking to that, he's a great kid. I don't know if you've got to hang out with him yet or meet him or whatever. Is there anyone on the team that you have not met yet that you're excited to be teammates with? Because I know obviously you have some familiarity with Dougie, and Nason re-signed with New Jersey as well from Carolina. Yep. So I'm sure you've been asked who are you most excited to reunite with. But on the flip side, is there anyone that you haven't met that you are looking forward to meeting in the locker room come day one of training camp?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone, that's the standard answer. But actually, Brendan Dillon, talking about him, I'm excited to meet him. I'm really close with Brent Burns. Carolina. So he played with Dylan in San Jose for a while, and he was just telling me, what good of a guy he is. And also my roommate in college, actually, Trevor Van Riemsdyk, played with him in Washington. Just, nothing but great things from here. And I've been texting him a little bit. So yeah, definitely excited to meet him.
And then to that as well, have you picked your spot to live yet in Jersey? Are you doing Hoboken or are you doing the suburbs?
Yep. Hoboken. Actually, closing on a place on Thursday. So it's been a little hectic, but yeah, I'm excited.
You find a deli yet?
No, that's going to be my number. Deli and a pizza place.
Yeah. There's a hell of a lot of good options in Hoboken, especially the way that it's blown up, and certainly a great area to live. I mean, I remember when Shaddy was a free agent and he signed with the Rangers all those years ago, and the Devils made him a big offer, and I was like, dude, go to the Devils. I know you're a lifelong Ranger fan. I'm like, but don't go to your hometown team. Go down the road. You're just as close. You can live in New Jersey. I'm like, so I think it's a really smart move, and I think it takes a little bit of that hometown pressure off you. Not any guy really playing in their hometown. 100%. But Jonny's asking you brought up Trevor Van Riemsdyk. We talk a lot of college hockey on this show. I still do the Frozen Four. I'm super involved in it. Jonny calls games for Hockey East every weekend. What was that UNH experience like? Were they your number one choice? I mean, the Whittemore is unreal. What a great place to play. Dickey is such a fun guy. Scott, I don't know if Scott Boric and David Lassonde were there with you. I don't know if you had those guys. I mean,
yeah, they were.
I'll just tell you quickly, when I visited UNH, as I was sort of doing my tour, I would have committed to UNH on the spot because I was blown away with the campus feel and everything. But Dickey was on vacation and didn't come back for my
priority.
He didn't come. And Scott Boric told my dad and Jordan, he was like, look, BU said they've already got you wrapped up. So Dick didn't want to come off a vacation. And my dad was like, you can't go there. The head coach didn't think you were important enough for the visit. Otherwise, I was on the spot committing to UNH. I swear.
That is crazy.
But you, Millie, man, and I love the guy.
I gotta talk to him about that one. Oh, you messed up, dude.
Well, how great was that experience, though, for you?
Yeah, man. It's so funny. I actually just got back. Kyle Smith, I think, right?
Yeah, he's a local guy.
Yeah. So my buddy, he's a Philly guy. He has a house in Avalon, New Jersey.
Were you just down there?
Yeah, every year we go down once a year. It's like a little college reunion. There's about 10 of us.
Whitebriar, no shower happy hour.
Whitebriar, we hit the Ocean Drive, the Princeton.
Oh, you guys did Sea Isle one night. Oh boy. Oh boy.
No, it was a lot of fun, but yeah, I mean, I have nothing but great things to say about UNH. I loved every second of my time there. I tell everyone, if I knew I would end up in the same place today, I would have stayed my senior year. Just because I loved it that much. That was probably the hardest decision I've ever had to make, was leaving school. I'm sure there's nothing like playing college hockey with your boys, just seeing them every day, going to classes, whatever, just in the dorms. So nothing but great things to say.
What do they need to do to get their program back going? Because I got
Dude,
to tell you,
they're almost back. They had a good year last year.
Yeah,
they had a good first half.
Yep.
I thought they were fun to watch. They had this
college
kid, Conley,
hockey
who's
is
nasty.
better when they're good.
Yeah.
They're one of those schools in Hockey East that can lift up the level, but like they need to get going. Like I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah. No, I agree. I still follow them. I think they're they were a little better this year. So hopefully it's like a little stepping stone again.
Well, kind of speaking of summer stuff, you're a Westchester guy. You're in Tarrytown right now?
In Tarrytown, yep.
So where do you spend your like weekends on the summer? Are you a Hamptons guy, a Jersey Shore guy? Like what are you doing in the summer so far?
Yeah, I used to. I mean, I'm married now, so
Mhm.
I used to go out to the Hamptons almost every weekend.
Mhm.
I still get out there. A few of my buddies have houses. I usually just stay local. I'll play some golf and I'll go to the city once in a while. But yeah, when I was a little younger, I was a big Hamptons guy for sure.
Talk House or West Hampton? Where were you going?
I was a Talk House guy, to be honest.
Best.
I love Talk House, man.
Yeah,
it's like my favorite bar.
Well, now that Tony D sold his house in Margate, there's nowhere to go down the shore, right? I mean, that's your buddy, right? I mean,
that's my boy.
I love Tony. I've known Tony since he's a young guy. I constantly defend him on this show. We're actually having him on later, either today or tomorrow morning, because he's going to be the next episode. I asked him for some dirt on you. He wouldn't give me any, just so you know.
He's a loyal friend. That's why, man.
He would not give me any dirt on you. Listen, he's a South Philly guy. He's not going to rat. But I talk about all the time, like there's no pro in our area that gives more time to kids and stays at the rink and signs autographs and skates with kids. There's nobody that does a 10% even of what he does. And you never hear about that. All you hear about is the bullshit and a lot of it is made up because you're his teammate. Every one of his former teammates that we have on only has good things to say about him.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally probably one of my best friends. I talk to him every other day. He actually came down from Philly to the Princeton Saturday night just to hang out with me and meet all the college boys. So yeah, I mean, he's genuinely one of the best teammates and guys like I've ever met. Mm-hmm. It still kind of angers me that he has the reputation he has because he's so good. Like I've never seen a guy run a power play like he does.
It's unreal.
It's incredible.
How does he not? It's a joke that he doesn't have a team right now. It is a joke.
I tell him that all the time. I don't get it. It's like, it baffles me, but just literally the best guy. You can't ask for a better friend. Like, it's crazy. So.
Listen,
I've also heard good things about him as well. So
it's just sad because he was vocal about something that's apparently deemed, supporting a political candidate. And like, I say it on our show all the time, like it's freedom of choice. Do what you want to do. Like, I think it's look, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I truly can't believe he doesn't have a job. I know how good of friends you guys are. And he speaks the world of you too, just so you know. And that's why we wanted to have him on next. We thought it would be cool to have you guys on back-to-back episodes, but he really is like, it's just incredible. Like I said to him, hey, will you come out with the Warriors? And he's like, yeah, when do you want me to come out? I'll come out anytime you want. Like, he is willing to give his time to any cause, any kid. If it's at the rink, he's in. And nobody tweets about that. Nobody writes about that.
Nope.
It pisses me off, as it sounds like you too.
Yeah, I lose sleep over it for him. Trust me. It's just the best guy you can like ever. It's crazy, man. But
are you a social media guy at all or no?
No, I don't. No. I'm not a big social. I mean, I have like the Instagram. I actually don't even have Twitter.
Smart.
I have Instagram.
Dad tweets enough for you, right?
Yeah, like I said, my father does it for me. We've gotten some bickerments about.
Is your dad? Does he?
We follow each other. That's why I was going to lead into this.
Oh my god, dude! Yeah. This guy's out of control.
Yeah. Like, I was going to ask you if you've warned him about Devils fans.
There's been like 3 times where I had to call him and be like, Dad, like, come on, man, you can't be tweeting that stuff.
What did he? Wait, what? I had no idea about this. What was the tweet that got you the most? That you were like, Dad, come on,
dude. So I'll never forget this now. I was hurt in the playoffs. I ended up breaking my leg. So the game we lost after game 6, like, I'm devastated. I know that this could be my last game. Didn't even get to play with the boys. I literally look, or no, sorry, my wife, because I don't have Twitter. My wife looks on Twitter, and an hour later, post our season being over, he's thanking the fans and telling them that he's gonna come back for when I play the Canes.
Oh God.
And I'm like, Dad, like, I'm trying to stay a Cane. Like, this isn't over yet. Like, what are you doing? And then I see an article come out, and it's like, oh,
what did he say?
He's like, he's a New York guy, so he's like, oh, F you, whatever. I can do what I want. I'm just like, come on, man.
Oh, so he pushes back.
He'll push back, but then it's funny, that one a week later. So I didn't speak to him for a week, which is crazy because he's like one of my best friends. And he goes, "Yeah, sorry, that was it." So I said, "You know what? I'll take it."
Maybe we need to get him on the show next year, Johnny.
Dude.
We do. I DM'd with him, I think, last playoffs.
Did you?
I think because I was doing a show at the NHL, and I followed him on Twitter. We followed each other, and I think he scored a big goal either against the Devils or one of those games. And I shouted your dad out because I think he was tweeting during it, and we just like DM'd. I was like, just gave you a shout out on NHL.com or whatever. Like, you're the best,
Yeah.
But yeah, he's fucking hilarious, and Devils fans are gonna love him. That's for sure.
Oh,
I think what people have to realize with this kind of thing is that, and Brett, you can obviously speak to this, but making the NHL, it's not a me thing, it's a we thing.
For sure.
Like, for any of us to make it, even for you, Johnny, to be a Division I hockey player, and like I barely played in the league. I was mostly a minor leaguer, but I had my little cups of coffee in the NHL.
Thanks for giving me some flowers.
Well, listen, you played at UMass, you're a Division I hockey player. I always give you love for that, and I have a lot of respect for that. That's big time in my opinion. But
thank you.
It's a family commitment to get you to that point, and whether mom was dealing with your siblings. Like for me, my mom dealt with my siblings while my dad ran me around the freaking world. Yep. And, my youngest brother was raised in a hockey rink. He didn't get a normal childhood. He was buzzing around Ice Line and Ice Works and South Mountain getting into trouble, and he had the biggest potty mouth ever. So when you make it, it's your dad especially usually feels like we made it. And like, I used to say to my dad, like when I got called up for the first time, I called him. I'm like, Dad, we're getting called up. Like I said that to him. I remember saying that to him. And I don't know if you feel the same way. It sounds like you and your dad are super tight, but people got to realize that it's really, really, it doesn't matter. Like Kevin Shattenkirk is one of my best friends, right? His dad doesn't miss a beat. And he's been in the league for 16 years and he's an all-star. His dad is still looking at ice time dude, dads are ride or die with this shit. And like, people need to understand that. And it sounds like your dad is one of those dads.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I do think he's on the team based on his tweets, but no, man, you're right. It's funny you said that. I literally said the same thing. I'll never forget it. I literally like, Dad, we're getting called up. Like, this is crazy. Man. I mean, everyone says we sacrifice our life or our childhoods, whatever, to focus on hockey, but they sacrifice their time as well. Yeah. Like, I mean, literally, you guys know how it is. Like, we're in the car 24/7 travel. I had 2 brothers who played travel as well. So it's like, it's nonstop. The thing is, like, my parents never complained. They just put their head down and did it. And that's what it makes you appreciate it more now, when you're a little older and whatnot. But it's crazy. It's a unity thing. If you make it, like, we all make it. So.
Yeah.
And doesn't it honestly sound fucking exhausting, like hearing your dad like commute to work, come home, drive you to practice, sit at practice, drive you home, and do it all again the next day? Like, crazy. Listen, I'm not trying to brag here. I'm an uncle of 2. I can't imagine having kids of my own.
No, yeah. No.
Well, I have one, and I have another one coming here soon.
Nice.
And I got to tell you, I can't wait to do for them if they want, for what my dad and what my mom did for me. Like, I can't wait to make those sacrifices because I know what it did for me. And
exactly.
And one year I played for the Titans. We were driving an hour and a half to practice every day. I mean, you were doing it too. If you were playing in North Jersey, that's not that close.
An hour. Yeah. It's crazy, man. I know.
Rush hour traffic, homework in the car, getting half dressed at home. I mean,
that's it, dude.
Those were the days. And your dad was most of the time, your wingman. So I think it's great when dads are are vocal and they're having their say. I bet your dad rips it up on the dad's trip, huh?
Rips it up, dude. So does my mom. Oh my God, my mom loves it. This loud New York lady just screaming at every other parent. So yeah, they eat it up.
Mm-hmm. Kind of just bringing it back into, next season, the Devils, obviously Sheldon Keefe is going into his first year. Is that also something that you find beneficial now that you're not only going in there and having to adjust to what they're already doing?
Yeah.
It's kind of a fresh start for everyone. So that has to be a little bit comforting for you as well, right?
It was, yeah, to be honest. My agent, my now agent is Judd Moldover, is super close with Sheldon. So he had nothing but good things to say. And to be honest, that also influences your decision too, right? Like if a coach has a good reputation, it makes your life a lot easier to play for him, and you want to play for him, right? Just because I heard he's a great guy. So we've had some conversations, about how we're both kind of doing this together as the new guys, quote unquote. So it's a cool thing for sure.
So let's talk a little bit about this season, as Jonny brought up. Have you thought about, home opener at the Prue? Have you thought about putting on a jersey, for a team that was in your backyard growing up? Like, have you kind of physically and mentally or visually gone there yet? Or are you just kind of getting through your summer, getting healthy, and kind of just thinking, let me just get to training camp and start getting my feet wet?
No, for sure. I've been thinking about it. They actually sent me jerseys and some gitch and whatnot. And I literally opened it up and I was like, I honestly got goosebumps. I was like, this is like the coolest thing ever. Just like, obviously I was a Ranger fan growing up, but I would still go to games at the Rock. Like it's such a cool place. Right now you're right. I'm just kind of focused on getting fully healthy, but it's definitely going to be surreal. Those first few games at the Prudential Center.
Did you have a favorite Devil, even though you were a Ranger fan?
No, I actually, well, believe it or not, I would probably say Patrick Elias, because when I was with the Hitmen, he actually came and skated with us a few times, which was him and Travis Zajac. So I always thought that was really cool, and I actually kind of started to follow them after that.
That is sick. Like I remember too, being obviously a young American kid. Like when Zach Parise came into the league, like I always think about Parise's like leg kick, forehand, backhand, shelf shootout move. Like he'd do that every time. I loved watching Zach Parise. But no, it's really cool that you're going to stay in the Metropolitan Division as well, and I'm sure that's obviously another thing that's comforting for you too, knowing that you're playing against the same exact competition you've been playing for 9 years.
Yep.
The return back to Carolina. Now, where do you visualize that? Do you think it'll be a warm welcome?
It's going to be an expensive night for him. That we could the board will be heavy that night.
Yes, it will be heavy. Obviously, I'm human. I've thought about that. It's going to be, I don't know how. I think it's really just going to hit me once I'm on the ice. Like maybe even go to the other away room. Like I spent 9 years there.
Yeah, it's a long time.
That was my second home. So many good people in that organization. Like I said, I have so many lifelong friends on that team. It should be interesting. Hopefully I don't get booed. So
have you had any interactions with Frank the Tank yet?
No, I have not, but I heard he's a huge Devils guy.
He's at every game.
That's awesome. I love
you hear him. Yeah. He's hilarious. You know what I'm talking about, right, Colby?
Yeah, he's a Barstool guy, right?
He's a Barstool guy.
Yeah. Well, look, I got one last one for you, and then I'm sure Jonny likes to do this thing when I try to wrap up an interview where he comes at you with like a 7-part question. But look, I want to say congratulations for everything.
Thank you.
I want to say I appreciate the fact that you came on our show today and you were genuine with us. Like I think a lot of times we get guys on here and they give us the like, we got to give 100%, and it's just like bullshit. So I appreciate that out of you. The last question that I have for you is you just signed a massive contract. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Did you make some like uncharacteristically big purchase where you're like, holy shit, like this is a lot of money. Like I should be good. I should be good for the next like 4 lifetimes. So what was there something you went out and you were like, you know what? I'm getting that watch, that AP or something like that.
No, believe it or not, I didn't. Well, I mean, I got a new car and I bought my wife a new car, and I guess that was the big purchase. I'm kind of a simple guy. I'm not really like a big like a materialistic guy. So yeah, I mean, that does.
What kind of cars did you guys get? Are we talking like Lamborghinis here, or
no,
what are we?
No, I got a new Range Rover. I got that autobiography.
Nice.
Love that.
Nice.
And then I bought my wife the Defender. So
I
guess that was our big purchase together.
The Defender will be good once you start popping kids out, because that's
exactly.
We're talking about that right now as we're going from 1 to 2. I said to my wife, we need to go test drive one of those things. It's like a bus.
Dude, they're sick too. They're like really roomy in there, and like they drive nice. Highly recommend that car.
I'm gonna clip that and send it to my wife, because she's resisting right now because she thinks it's too big. I'm like, you're gonna want a car that big.
They're great, dude. I'm telling you.
It's a good pitch. And Brett, I'm appreciative of your time. I reached out to some friends who covered the Canes, and they said that you actually hate doing interviews. So I'm really.
No, you guys, like, this was awesome. I you know, 2 college guys. I appreciate you guys have me on. It was a lot of fun.
All I'm going to say is, when I see you in the locker room, the road room at MSG next year covering the game, just don't big dog me. That's all I'm going to ask.
Of course not, man. Come on.
Most people do, but
most people do.
Usually. Most people do.
No, dude, we're college hockey guys, bro. We stick together.
And we are going to do our show we're going to tape one with Tony at 4:00 today. So we'll tell him you love him. We'll make sure we tell him all the nice things you said about him. And if you have anything good on him, although I have plenty of stuff on him because I've known him for so long.
Yeah, you probably have enough.
we do look forward to getting him on, but it was nice because it's just everybody we talk to says the same thing. So it's just nice to get a guy that we've never met before saying it too. So look, have a great rest of your summer. You know, enjoy those last couple of weeks where Prentice is. I know he kicks your guys' ass. The Prentice guys are always in great shape, and we'll be looking forward to covering you this year. And we might reach out and try to have you on one or two times during the season when things get going.
When Lafreniere puts up 2-1.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. And, you know, I'm looking forward to talking to you guys in the future.
Thanks,
all right.
Brett. Appreciate it. Wait, actually, one stupid question. What's your
up?
nickname?
Here we go. What's up?
What's your nickname?
Just Pesce.
Pesce? Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't know what it would be.
Johnny has this thing where like he doesn't know a guy and like he calls them by their nickname, and it makes me uncomfortable. I'm like, you don't call someone you don't know by their nickname. Like, it's just
I'm automatically boys with everybody.
He's just like, I mean, we've had guests on our show and he's like calling them, he's like nicknaming them, and I'm just like, oh my God.
I'll always be true to myself. Don't worry.
All right.
There you go.
You got permission in the room next year to call him Pesce. There you go.
Yes, you do.
Thanks, Pesce.
All right, man. Have a good rest of summer. All right. I mean, listen, we talk about this all the time. We've never met him. We talk about it all the time, that it's challenging to get guys to come on our show who are willing to be, you know, again, it's not that guys aren't genuine people, because hockey guys are. But like guys just sometimes they don't want to share emotions, and they want to be guarded because they're worried about how the media is going to twist up their words and this and that. But man,
you never twist up.
Well, I only do that to you. I would never do that to a guy, to one of our players.
Yeah.
I only do that to you because it's funny to watch you squirm about it so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that was awesome.
I do squirm.
Look, you got that set up through Devil's PR, so we got to thank Devil's PR. That was a great assist. He said that Pesce would be a great guy to chat with. And he certainly was. That was one of, like, you never know. You got a guy, Johnny, that we don't know. Like, he's thinking like, who the hell are these guys? But that was a nice conversation. I really appreciated that he was so, you know, genuine and open about the dad stuff and like the Carolina stuff. Like, he didn't have to get into the stuff with his dad, but that was hysterical. I mean, I'm cracking up thinking about that kind of stuff.
You got to follow him. He is like literally the typical hockey dad, just on Twitter. And
but he tweets it.
It's a lot.
Plays in the NHL, makes $6 million a year.
No, but we might have to have him on our show. Like, he's unbelievable. He really is.
Look, I think next year, after a month into the year, I think one morning we get him to come on, and you know, I want to hear that accent. It was just funny to even hear Brett kind of talk about his accent a little bit. I mean, dude, hockey dads they're something special.
Yeah, but I do want to take a quick second to talk about one of our lovely sponsors, Out West. Summertime just got a little sweeter thanks to the guys over at Out West. That's right, everyone. As we mentioned earlier this year, Out West has released a brand new collection featuring 2 new hoodies and 6 stylish polos. But here's the catch. Some styles are flying off the shelves faster than expected. So head over to www.outwestgolf.com and use our code Cuppa, C-U-P-P-A, in all caps for 15% off of your first order before they're gone. One thing I did want to mention, Colby, just a quick story time. I know we talk about weddings and stuff. I've had, 3 weekends in a row of weddings. I have another one on Saturday, but I was at one of my best friends, Max Calter's wedding, UConn hockey guy. Speaking of Brett, speaking of Hockey East, a lot of UConn hockey guys. And I know we have some Sabres fans that listen to the show, and watching Tage Thompson do the horror was like one of the funniest things I've ever seen, because he's obviously a monster. He's like 6'6", 6'7", lifting our buddy Max up in the chair, basically, putting Max up to the ceiling. And, we were all joking after. There's like, first month of the season, Tage Thompson out with back spasms, due to the horror dance at Max Calter's wedding.
Well,
but I know we like telling wedding stories, and it was cool to see Tage and catch up with those guys.
A lot of guys who probably never went to a bar mitzvah, they probably are watching that at a wedding for the first time, thinking, what on earth is happening here?
All the UConn guys, and Max played in France for 2 years too, professionally. So he had a couple buddies from there, and they're all like, Jewish weddings. Like, these are so fucking sick. Like, everybody was freaking out. It was a great time. And I want to shout out his wife, Stephanie, too, because they really just knocked it out of the park. 10 out of 10 wedding. And, one thing that was funny, Max actually like paused in his vows and dropped an F-bomb. And it was like the funniest thing I've ever seen.
And was this what you had to wear the tux for, or was that the weekend before?
Dude, all 3 in a row. I bought a tux I have 3 weddings this summer. I have another one in September.
You wore a
bow
tie and everything?
Bow tie and everything.
Did you have the little fancy covers for the buttons and
Studs?
everything? Yeah.
Studs, yeah.
Wow, you went all in, huh?
Yeah.
Who tied your bow tie?
So the wedding I had last weekend, I watched a YouTube video for an hour and did it myself. And then I got help from a father before the ceremony started when I got there, because it looked like shit. And since I was a groomsman at this wedding, Max actually like hired someone to tie all of our bow ties, because none of us knew how to do it.
So you were out in Chicago this past weekend?
Yeah, I love it there. It is such an awesome city in the summer. Like, have you been to Athenian Room ever when you lived there?
So here's the thing. My time in Chicago, even though we were there for a couple of years, Alex was pregnant when we got there. And then she was basically just newly pregnant. So we really didn't. And then we spent the first, 6 or 8 months with a newborn, where you're just not really doing a lot. So like basically the 2 years that we were there, she was pregnant, and then we had a newborn. And so we never really got out and experienced it. And in the summer we didn't stay. So we really didn't have a lot.
Nothing.
we ate at a lot of good restaurants. But like, we weren't like going out. And when we went out, we were going out in our neighborhood. Like, we were going out in Lincoln Park.
Where'd you live?
We were in the Lincoln Park. Yeah. In that area. So like, we would go to like neighborhood bars, and like we were, because we lived in a very residential street. We weren't on a high rise. We bought a house, and, we just didn't go out all that much. And like, when we did, we would have Sloan. And even if we went and had a couple of beers or a couple of drinks somewhere with our neighbors that we made friends with, like, we would have our kids with us. So I didn't get that like young
Chicago
college
feel.
Chicago like party experience that I think people love.
Speaking of Chicago too, sorry, am I boring you over there?
No, sorry, it's okay.
I'm just fucking with you.
I have Oliver's laying right next to me, and he yawned, and it set off a yawn for me. Yeah.
I never recommend TV shows, but this show was filmed in Chicago, so while it's fresh in my mind, Presumed Innocent on Apple TV, the new
we watched
show.
We watched
fucking incredible.
Were you expecting? Did you see the end yet?
Yeah, I finished it. Yeah.
So
no spoilers. No spoilers.
We won't lay out a spoiler. But were you expecting that?
Not at all.
So the crazy.
I had my theory.
My wife had a theory, which was the same theory as Jake Gyllenhaal in the show. He thought, my wife called that in episode 3. She goes, "That's who did it." Right. And we were wrong. Obviously, she was wrong. I didn't have a gut feeling. She's the one with the good gut feelings when it comes to TV shows. She'll be like, X, Y, and Z is going to happen. But we were definitely like,
we got to talk about this off air, because I got to tell you.
We were like, wow, watching that show. And we love a good series. my wife and I, because, Sloan goes to bed and like we were so disappointed in the ending of Mother of Dragon. I don't know if you watch that show. No. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I stopped after season 3. I kind of just got
crazy.
I didn't like it. I didn't love it.
I mean, that is like one of the greatest shows of all time.
I tried to force myself to love it because I know everyone else did. But
did you watch Westworld? Did you like Westworld?
Never seen it. Never seen
man,
it.
That's
like Breaking Bad. I loved
that one. Went off the handles, but like the finale of Mother of Dragon pissed us off so much because like the cliffhanger was insane. Like, you just like walk us up to the cliff and just leave us on the cliff. And that show takes like 2 years to have a new season. That's not a show that has a new season out every year. So now we're going to have to wait 2 freaking years for House of Dragon to come back, which really pissed me off. I mean, I was really annoyed by that because we loved Game of Thrones. We rewatched Game of Thrones during COVID. And because my wife hadn't seen it, and then we're all in. We love, on Mother of Dragon. Or House of Dragon, not Mother of Dragon. But
yeah, I was thinking like, what the fuck is Mother of Dragon?
The House of Dragon.
I kind of knew what you meant, but I didn't know if it was like a spinoff or something.
But that show with Jake Gyllenhaal, it's a good show. I'm with you. We watched it. We liked it. They've already gotten a new green light for a second season, but the question is going to be like,
it's a different cast. It's like White Lotus, I think.
But here's the thing. Jake Gyllenhaal is the executive producer, and in the book, this is all based on a book.
Yeah, I heard about that.
He gets retried for something else in the book. So kind of curious to see how they kind of bring that show back around for season 2. But I'm with you. I will endorse your endorsement on that show. Really good.
I thought it was awesome. Not much more hockey news. There are a couple of things I do want to shout out. I don't know is there anything on your mind that you wanted to touch on? Maybe that 3-on-3 overtime in the KHL that we saw, that clip that came out today. The new rule of taking it back behind the red line. I think it's fucking stupid, to be honest.
Look, I'm all for trying to fix overtime because I do think the overtime right now, I do think that it's a little messed up. Like, I think teams have kind of figured it out just a little bit too much. And so the new rule in the KHL, and you'll see it right here, if you cross
this is the junior league. This is the junior league.
Yeah, if you
cross trying it out before the KHL.
If you cross the red line here, it's a penalty. So that
the second time is a penalty, I believe.
The first time that should have been it, whatever. But look, they're trying to make it so you're just not regrouping. And I don't know if that is the answer, but I like that they're trying to come up with an answer. And I like that usually they use the American Hockey League to try these things out. Like, I remember they used to test things in the AHL before they throw them up to the NHL. They need to figure something out because I do think 3-on-3 overtime has gotten a little bit stale. Every now and again, we get treated to like an up and down fuck it type of overtime where both teams are just going for it. And we're all like, oh my God, this is so good. But most of the time, would you not agree that 3-on-3 has gotten a little bit stale?
Yes and no. Like, so I'm a roller hockey guy. So I like that possession game. Like, I enjoy watching it. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, I'm used to playing 4-on-4, no offside, where if you don't have numbers, you take the puck back and set something up. And I think that's what the NHL should try to do more. Like, make it 3-on-3 or 4-on-4, but just no offside. Like, don't add more rules. If anything, take rules away. Like, make it more chaotic and more fun. This just, to me, is like more. Like, I don't want more whistles in the game.
So you think taking offside? I mean, I'm not.
I think that just makes it. I want chaos.
So so that means you could literally just have a guy that's like completely just hanging by the goal, just waiting.
Yeah. I think that's where you think more. You get to be more creative as opposed to just limiting what they can do. I think that's a better direction to go in.
Yeah, I don't think they would ever do that where they would eliminate the blue lines, but
you don't think it'd be more fun though? I think it'd be pretty fun.
I mean, look, I think it would for a period of time until teams figured out, okay, like, because I think what would happen is you would just go play 2-on-2 in the offensive zone, and one guy would just stay and hang with the guy, like, because points are precious. So my thing is like, players are so good. Hockey, like teams are smart. Like they figure out a way. Like in the early days of 3-on-3, we didn't see what we're seeing now with all the changes and the regroups. You would go for it. Chance. If you didn't collect the puck and you didn't, win the battle, then it was chance at the other end, and then chance and chance. And then all of a sudden it evolved into what we see now. Like even that, I think, Jonny, would evolve. It might take a little bit of time. I don't know. I don't have an answer, and I don't have a really strong opinion one way or the other, but I like that they're trying something new over in Russia. I think that's, that's, they obviously don't like what they're seeing at the KHL level. So they're trying other things at the lower tiers, and, they're going to see it. If they may not like it. Like they may, after one season, say, you know what, we're going back to the other way. This doesn't work. More whistles, not enough goals, whatever. Like but you don't know until you try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. But for me, like, I don't like more rules. I like more. Like,
I understand that.
Yeah.
I listen. I think the main goal is entertainment, and the entertainment is goals. But you also just have to be careful. And I yelled and screamed and kicked about this during the playoffs. Is like, I think most people would rather a 2-2 game, or a 3-3 game in the final 5 minutes of the third period of a playoff game than 5-5 or 6-6. Yes, you saw a lot of goals, or 7-5, but like the tightness and the fact that the margin for error is so razor thin, I think that creates more drama and more entertainment for people. I'm not saying I want 0-0, but I think the tighter games are something people are actually yearning for now. Like I really do. I think, yes, people want goals and they want highlight reel types of plays, but I think especially when we get to playoff time, people enjoy and appreciate how tight it gets. And it's why they say that the NHL playoffs are it's the best playoffs there is in sports. They don't say that about the regular season, just the playoffs. Yeah.
It's true. No, that's a good point. So, I do want to just shout out quickly. One of my best friends, Tommy Apap. He's a Michigan kid, plays for the Milwaukee Admirals right now, was the captain at Michigan State. His father, who I was, pretty tight with when I played junior with Tommy, passed away from ALS, and Tommy has been throwing an ALS fundraiser hockey game in Michigan. This is the second year he's doing it. It's called the Paul C. Apap Foundation fundraiser, and it's a hockey game in Birmingham, Michigan, this Saturday, August 10th at 3 p.m. at Birmingham Ice Arena. All the proceeds are going directly to families affected by ALS. It helps ease the financial burden of the disease. There will be pro hockey players playing in the game, while a silent auction and tin can raffle take place in the rink. Some of the guys that are playing, include Dylan Larkin, Zach Rowensky, Brian Russ, Paul Cotter, Dakota Joshua, a lot of Michigan native guys. And it's awesome to see these guys just kind of like commit, to taking time out of their summer and come down and help this cause. And, any contributions to help these families out, because obviously ALS is one of the worst diseases, you can imagine. And Paul was always the best, most kind-spirited guy that I was able to know with this disease. One of Paul's, or I guess Paul's like saying and motto is always, it's a good day to have a good day. He said that every single day. He always told that to me and Tommy. It's actually funny. Like, I'll tell a quick funny story about Paul. I went with Tommy to a Lions-Cowboys game, playoff game, because we were living in Texas, and Colby, you'll appreciate this. I wore a Cowboys t-shirt. Tommy is a huge Lions fan from Detroit. We sent his dad a picture, and his dad wrote back, like, tell Laz he looks like shit. And I said, tell him I say fuck you. And he responded, real nice thing to say to a guy with ALS. It was just, he's just a pretty funny guy. Like, he always had that kind of humor, and always made me feel like a happier version of myself. And it's a great cause. So if anyone is in the Michigan area that's listening that would want to go check it out, 3 p.m. on Saturday at Birmingham Ice Arena. I could post more info on my social media so you can see it on Instagram and whatnot, but I just want to shout out Tommy and the APAP family, because I truly love them.
You know what? Hockey guys show up, especially when it's for a good cause. So I think that's all we got for today, Jonny. We are recording this on August 6th, just so everybody knows. We do plan on releasing this episode on August 7th. Obviously, unless something changes, we are full transparency. We are recording another episode with Tony D'Angelo later today that we're going to release next week. We're all going to be on vacation next week, so we're going to do that interview today, and we will get that off to you guys next week. Unless, like I said, there were to be anything newsworthy that happens in the next day or two and we flip-flopped. But that was a great conversation with Brett Pesce. Sounds like he's a pretty easy guy to root for at this point. Mm-hmm. Just a super genuine guy with all of the responses that he gave us. So we'll have to have him back on. We know we have to have his dad on next season.
For sure.
We are excited to have our new presenting sponsor with Bet365. That's a big one for us. They're a big supporter of all of Daily Faceoff and all of our properties. So it's awesome to get them in the show. And obviously we love our friends at Out West. So I think that's all we got for today, Jonny. We got our main man, Vic, working behind the scenes, recording the episode. He's going to be off on an exotic vacation starting tomorrow. So when he comes back from vacation, he better be extra tan. But we'll have to get some good stories from him from his vacation. So I think that's all the time we got, Jonny. Final word.
I texted Vic when you were talking about winning your freshman year high school championship to throw out the Vetrano tweet, because Pesce said he knew Frankie and was friends with Frankie, but I'm sure that would have pissed you off. My favorite tweet of all time.
Jonny, I can't help the fact that at high school, college, and the professional levels,
I win. I know.
On winning teams.
Yeah, you just win.
I certainly wasn't a big reason why, but hey, sometimes right place, right time, kid.
We just need to have that queued up every episode.
That's totally okay with me.
Yeah. All right. Love you guys, and hope you enjoyed the interview.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Saravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.